Okay, Betsy DeVos. Look at her Terrascope. She's retreating or she's on vacation. Who knows? She's got this obstruction fighting in her first house. That's who she is. She's just an obstructioneer. Her secret has to do with the POTUS. She's hoping and wishing that this Page of Wands comes through, which has to do from news from Russia or the Saudis. What's crowning her is all this new money. And this, the 10th house, is between the 11th house of Hope's Wishes, the 9th house of taking action. So it's almost as if this new money is coming from these two. The news and the action taken overseas. We should find out who the Knight of Wands is. The shared resources, interestingly, Queen of Wands reversed. They are, I assume, Russia, pairing up with Russia to overcome Speaker Pelosi and her, decisions with the impeachment. The 7th house, we the people. She's got death first, trying to hold off on change of impeachment. 6th house, public servants, military investigations day to day. The sun. Lordy, I pray. This is Rick Gates sharing information. Is this information that Rick Gates shared? Not really. Does this have to do with the president? Yes. Okay, and since the sun, here's the sun, and the 4th house, this has to do with the defenses of home. Oh, temperance. You know what this is? This is the card. This is how you blend Russia with USA. That's how DeVos perceives USA security, is blending Russia in. 5th house of the sun has to do, represents the president. Knight of Pentacles, offers of money to help him out. 3rd house communication. Look at this. She has the Hierophant reversed. Reversing all the rules probably with her Department of Education when it comes to income and gain. Knight of Swords. They fight for every single penny they can just squeeze out of everyone. So that's what the Department of Education looks like, kids. Yep. I don't see any math or anything going on there. I just see stealing, subverting rules, bribes, and treason. Lots of treason. In my big list of things and people and agencies to check in with, I was like, let's check in with the Space Force. What the heck is up with the Space Force? Shuffling my cards, do the first house of identity, which would be like the signifier. I say, Space Force, who are you right now? Putin. That's what our Space Force is. I knew it. I just knew it. So, Space Force, who are you? You're Putin. What's your income? What are your gains? What are your valuables? Because that's the 2nd house. Oh, you're an op? Okay, well, since Venus is a ruler of this house, I'm going to go look, see where Venus is. Over here in the 5th, which rules, the sun. The income for Space Force is coming from an overturned government with no rules. Space Force, what's crowning you? What do you want to achieve? What do you hope to be? 5 of Swords, the Mafia. That's what our Space Force aims high to become. A portal for the Mafia to take money from the United States of America. So Space Force is the Mafia, the hopes, the wishes, friendships, the humanitarian revolutionary efforts for Space Force is the USA. What? Because the USA wants to, gather power, gather money, make offers with that money, because Space Force has a nightmare, and who knows what it is. But its secret of the Space Force is, oh, we have an addiction, the devil. Secret, hidden, enemies, no. This is a mafia's obsession with the United States of America to, again, take money for whatever it is they need to be their piggy bank. Okay, so what's giving life to this chart for Space Force heading into this eclipse? The ascendant, or the card of the reading, 25 degrees Virgo, with the moon right there at 25 degrees. There is a lot of emotional energy, eclipse energy already imprinting into what's going to happen with Space Force. So we know astrologically the ruler is going to be Mercury, so we'll go look for Mercury in just a second. So the card of the reading then, this is what's giving life to Space Force. The White House having a successful run with a goal. They want some sort of success. And we're going to look for that ruler, Mercury, which also rules what's crowning this lunation. Well, that is in, Mercury is in Sagittarius, in the 3rd house. Mercury is not strong in Sagittarius. Moreover, the card representing contracts, agreements, communication, digital communications, thinking, reasoning, publications. We have the 2 of Cups reversed. So Space Force is a bust. It's going to be a bust. In terms of defensive home, our security, how this helps and protects and nurtures the United States of America, that protection, strength, Russian strength, is what is at the heart of protecting America with Space Force. The 6th house is the Virgo, which is what's on the ascendant, is the natural ruler of this house here, the 6th house, day-to-day activities. Space Force is about obstruction, fighting, binding up government. Because when you bind up government, you have small government like this, it's easier to steal from. It's easier for corruption to corrupt because there's no accountability. Space Force, supposed to be in space, but when it comes to the people of the United States of America, Space Force is not necessarily concerned about children, but more like the past. Remember, I wish I could find out that video, find it, when I determined that the 6 of Cups was actually Donald's tax returns. Remember that? It's also the Republican Party. But here we have we the people, the wound we have to heal. Space Force. Is this how Donald is able to hide stuff? And that this has something to do with Donald's tax returns. He's able to use Space Force, obviously, to give money to Russia and not have it show up on his taxes. You know, we should all ask for write-offs for Space Force at this point. Okay, and the 8th house of shared resources, life, death, transformation. The shared resources are under judgment already for Space Force. Isn't that interesting? And interesting that the taxes are right here. So, I swear to God, Space Force was created for Donald to avoid tax troubles. These people. In the 9th house, faraway house. You know, lands far away. This is usually occupied for Putin, so we call it Putin's house. There's this 8 of Swords again. So Space Force is used by Russia to get money. There's absolutely nothing scientific here. I would think maybe there was something more science-y. maybe if we were looking at the Fool because it's a new venture, or we were looking at the Star because it's ruled by the planet Uranus, which rules science. No, which is ruled by Aquarius, which rules this 11th house, is all backwards because the Queen of Cups is not anywhere near, no, the Queen of Cups is nowhere near Aquarius Uranus, the Fool. Moreover, the sign that is the natural ruler here for science and space is Aquarius. We have the 180-degree polar opposite here occupying that. Space Force is a bust. This is Putin's vice against Donald. So if we, look at these midpoints. It's just a function for the mafia. Space Force is... Wait, what? Okay, now I see it. Look at this here. The midpoints. Okay, so you have the Queen of Cups on the left, the Five of Swords in the middle, the Eight of Swords on the right. If the Five of Swords, the guy in the middle, is the midpoint, his function depends on the United States and robbing her blind. That's what I see. That is the purpose of Space Force. Rob USA blind, we don't know what it is. We don't know where Space Force is. We don't know its function. But hey, Space Force, everyone. Sounds cool. China's got a Space Force. Maybe we should Space Force. No, not like this. Okay, so this is a question that I just asked and threw the spread because I'm so annoyed with the Republican Party. They keep saying if this could be a closed vote or private vote, that the Republicans would vote to impeach Donald, but they're scared to death. So we're just going to keep running our country like a glamorized Space Force that Putin will always have his hands in. So my question was, how in the world does the Republican Party then expect to get out of this problem? Because it's just, we're still the mouse running around in the wheel. It's just never going to, how do they, honest to God, expect this to end if they won't do anything about it? They keep going and running errands for him. Well, here's the card of the reading, the Four of Cups. They're just going to keep doing what Putin and Trump want them to do. They don't have a plan. Maybe they're sitting there and thinking about it, but they've got the big bullies right in their face. They can't really do anything. Card of the reading, Seven Pentacles. Yeah, it's a big, huge problem. And they're just looking at like, huh? Like mayonnaise? Covered in an op. This is why they do the things that they do. Their challenge is all the broken agreements they have to us, about Trump, about their constituents, everything. At the root of their problems, obviously, is Putin. And what's crowning them is all the Iran doing things that they do with Putin, and just let those things just carry on like it's what they're supposed to do. Because in the past, we have Emperor Trump, which is going to lead to, here we go. This is how we get out of it. The tax returns are what's going to save the day. Now, I'm going to interrupt myself here. I encourage you to go back to July 24th, go to C-SPAN and watch the video of Speaker Pelosi with Nadler, Schiff, Elijah, and another woman, I don't know her name. And the interview is about impeachment, but Mueller had his hearing that day. Well, listen to Elijah Cummings. This is why Donald had that story all weekend long calling Elijah a racist. The networks repeated it. It's why Elijah's house was broken into that day. The sweet thing about this interview, though, too, is if you watch Speaker Pelosi and you can just see how much love she has shining down for Elijah, because obviously Elijah was pretty sick then and nobody knew. But here is where this relates to this card. Speaker Pelosi, you know, gave a lot of praise to the work that Elijah did, because if he didn't do what he did in his, she said, genius ideas, I think, on pulling some things together, they wouldn't have gotten the court order with Mazars. And I think that came through in terms of getting tax returns. I forget how that's all related. There's just so much to know. This is how Donald is stopped. The tax returns. How do we see these tax returns? Oh, look at that. Show me the tax returns. Show them all. The environment is the White House. The hope with the tax returns. Stop the devil, reverse the devil, break the addiction. The fear of the tax returns by the Republicans. They fear the Russian strength. And what's the next steps that we would take? We would be able to end this insanity. We need the tax returns, because the final result indicted Donald. Bye-bye. Well, he's impeached. Done. We need those tax returns.